Hey everyone, it's Blake. Welcome in to episode number 3 of our Rocky Mountain Wrestling Local to Global Save in TEW IX. This is Wrestle Bowl 1. And I told you guys in the previous comments and videos, we will start doing it to where you're not just going to get one show per episode. We will probably start to combine them a little bit based on the frequency here. But I thought it'd be fun. This is a monumental occasion, our first ever show for the future global standard in professional wrestling. I figured we'd do this show, by itself at the start, just to kind of, sort of give us an idea of where we're actually going to be starting from. And then we'll kind of look at the fallout from it as well in terms of like the impact this show could have. So my plan will probably be eventually, we may do a couple shows per episode, but at least here early on, I think this is kind of an easier way to get into it and give us an idea of kind of what our baseline is going to be for some of these shows. So, Wrestle Bowl 1 is here, and I've decided to make this our WrestleMania. So we are starting with our WrestleMania. It's just Wrestle Bowl, number 1. So that's our plan. So we'll see what this sets in motion. There are 66 people who decided that for free, they would absolutely come watch our show because they're thinking, you know what, how bad could it be? I'm not paying any money here. And so 66 people in the state of Wyoming said, I'm going to climb the mountain and go check out Rocky Mountain Wrestling. Well, here's what they were treated to as we get into it. American Flash is going to start off. He's the first person in your trivia notes out the door into the entranceway for the first ever show in RMW. So American Flash makes his entrance, our most popular star on the roster, by the way. I know I overspent for him. Some people told me that, but that's okay. I want to start off with a bang here. Start off with a flash, if you will. And he's the first person making his entrance on this show. However, in a nice little angle here, someone is watching him from the crowd. And no, it's not one of these 66 people in attendance for free. It is Juggernaut Jones. The old Juggernaut is out here, and he's standing in the crowd. Does this man not know he's part of the roster? Maybe he's trying to beef up the numbers a little bit with the attendance. So we get a 33 for the segment, and Juggernaut is staring down American Flash. Ooh, very mysterious here. Flash debuts the Patriot gimmick, a little adequate there. Juggernaut, the Juggernaut gimmick, very good. We'll take that. And we do start a storyline because, as we said, we know we need 2 storylines to meet that sort of requirement of a hot storyline. I appreciate the comments on giving me the feedback there. I was like, I don't know what that number should be, but I would think a 33 is pretty okay to start off with. So 33 for this one. So we start the absolute Juggernaut storyline. What could it lead to? We'll find out, as we said. The gimmick changes do okay. A little bonus here for the Juggernaut. We won't be putting him in any comedy. I can tell you that. This guy right here, he does no comedy. He's not out here to be a sideshow. He's out here to be the man. So let's see what happens. That's how we start the show off with an angle. Our first ever match gets a 37 for the segment rating, 46 for the wrestling, 14 for the crowd. But it is the team of American Flash and Mobstar getting the win over Texas Hangman and Waylon Walls. And what do you know? Waylon Walls takes the pin here after the high-velocity senton. If you thought Texas Hangman was taking the pin, I don't know what you were thinking because we are protecting this guy right now. And so Flash gets a 55 on the in-ring performance. Mobstar with a 49 here. I don't think we can undervalue Mobstar's addition to this roster. We may have the ultimate super team here, Star and Flash. As they team up, Hangman gets a 41 on this. What I like the most is all of this right here because we get great, very good, great in terms of their gimmicks. Rowdy, Ryan Robertson, Triple R, who will be in our main event tonight. You'll find out who he's going to face. He gets the big old country boy gimmick, which is a good thing for Rocky Mountain Wrestling here. Waylon Walls, a street fighter. Texas Hangman is, what do you know, he's the Hangman. And then Mobstar is the gangsta. Now, we look at some of our notes here. So this is where we talked about, we're going to have to be pretty creative with our early, and I forgot to mention this in the segment a minute ago. But so, Rowdy, Ryan Robertson, Triple R was our referee. So I forgot to hire a referee, and I know some of you guys said that was kind of optional for the first couple shows. I had every intention before doing this show to actually hire a referee. I just simply forgot. So we had to actually be pretty creative here and just come up with a different referee. Now, I know what that's going to mean in a few minutes. My guess is we're going to get knocked for sort of the special guest referee note, which I've seen before. If you use that like multiple times per show, We're probably going to get knocked for that on the rating, so we may take a little bit of a hit, but that's okay. Look, we're one show in. This is not make or break for us by any means. But Too Hot, as you guys noted in the comments, a great road agent. And so we're using him a lot on the road agent stuff. He has the respect, the reputation, all that kind of stuff, psychology and everything. So he's been really good, I think, to put in this role. So that was a surprisingly good addition to the roster. I don't know that I really thought about that, but I think he was in a pretty good spot. But I will let you know, speaking of Too Hot, I got the note right off the bat with the locker room that American Flash and Too Hot got into an absolute brawl before the show started. And so I'm thinking, what's going on here? I don't think these two guys have bad... Actually, I looked at the backstage. They are both positive influences, and yet they decided to get into it. Maybe the juices were flowing a little bit. They're like, there's 66 people out here in the crowd in Wyoming on top of a mountain, and we're just ready to go. And so maybe it's a little friendly, brawl. That's what I'm going to look at it as. So I gave everyone a motivational speech before the show. I did the inspirational speech. That was the choices I had in terms of addressing the locker room. I went inspiration because after two guys had gotten in a fight, I figured I had to pull everything out of the bag here. And so got into a fight. Pre-show inspirational speech works here for these guys. And if we look at kind of some of the other stuff, I mean, look, we got a bonus from road agent work of Too Hot. He road agents a match against the guy whose ass he just beat before the show started. We get a little penalties here for the physical condition, inconsistency. We got a little negative road agent. I don't even remember what we used. What do we use on this? No storyline attached. I think maybe we had Texas Hangman keeping strong, so maybe that hurt a little bit. I don't know. But nonetheless, this is segment number 1, match number 1. I think I'm fine with it. 37 for this one. All right, here comes the future of wrestling right here, folks. Prime Time Jack Pryde, PTJP, comes on out here, and basically we get a promo from Prime Time Jack. Remember, 21 years old. Prime Time Jack is saying he's the future of wrestling, and it's hard to disagree with him right now. 35 for the segment, so he gets adequate on his primetime gimmick. Not a big fan of that. But, yeah, I mean, no surprise here in terms of the penalties and all that. Road agent, we didn't put anything into this, I don't think. American Flash was the road agent for this one. He has high, whatever the numbers were. So, little bonus for high morale for Primetime Jack. A little bonus for American Flash, too. So, speaking of Primetime Jack, he's in action here. As this match is a bit of a step down. I'm not surprised. 24 for the rating. Get a 5 from the crowd. So I appreciate the crowd really putting a lot into this one. So Primetime Jack gets the win over Flying Patriot, 747 with the Pride fall. 27, so Primetime Jack, not real great in the ring, but boy's got charisma. High energy babyface. Good gimmick for Flying Patriot, so we take that for the great. Get the match crowd a little bit hotter. I mean, they couldn't get probably much more bogged down. Trying to look here. We had Waylon Rawls as the referee. Too Hot, the road agent here for this one. And let's see. We're going to get some penalties from Flying Patriot, who, as you'll note, may look like he's going to be a big centerpiece here early on, but trust me, I don't see Flying Patriot being necessarily a huge part of the roster. So we get some of those penalties, but the bigger story is that Primetime Jack has just walked out with a win. But let me tell you, it was a valiant effort for Flying Patriot. However, he's going to get rewarded by getting his ass beat by Juggernaut Jones, who's going to come in here, and the man was sitting there staring at American Flash to start the show. He figured, I'm tired of seeing people who've got American-themed masks. I'm going to walk right in here and destroy this young man. And that's what Juggernaut does. So Juggernaut, who was still in the crowd, comes in and absolutely destroys Flying Patriot. You guys know, I teased that when we did the roster reveal. I said, there's no way I can hold off on this potential WrestleMania main event between Juggernaut and Patriot. One guy's like 6'8", 6'9", the other guy's 5'9". And so you can tell where we're headed, perhaps, for the next show. But we get an absolute beatdown here from Juggernaut. We did employ a creative finish, so our stored creative energy, we used that. And so it was a success. It was a safe bet, so I knew it was going to work here. So took a little bit of an extra bump up with that. But, yeah, Flash was the road agent here. I don't even think I meant for it to be 5 minutes. I guess it was. But, yeah, so, hey, good stuff. We'll take that. So high morale for Juggernaut. He should be. This guy's been featured in 3 segments so far. Or actually, no, he's been 2 segments. Wait a second. Here comes the third. And so the third does not do as well. So Juggernaut just came in, destroyed Flying Patriot. They had to just get this guy out of there. because Juggernaut had a match. And the wrestling's okay here. I'll take that. But the segment gets an 18. The crowd, again, I knew this was coming. So bored with yet another special guest referee involved. So again, it's my fault for not hiring a referee. Blame me for that. But it's fine. I didn't mind for the first show just to let this be what it is. We saved some money by not hiring one of those guys. I think all the referees, as I said, were like at least $50. So I didn't hire a referee. We saved $50 in my opinion. 35s each on the in-ring performance. Too Hot, a dancing entertainer, great. We're doing really good on these gimmicks so far. Get the crowd hotter, good, because we got the main event coming up next. So recapping the gimmick changes. Losses don't hurt momentum as much as usual. So yeah, I mean he's probably, I don't know, with Too Hot, we'll see, but he's a very valuable piece of the roster as I can tell so far. Decisive finish. We protected Juggernaut a little bit here because his skills are not the best. Triple R was the referee before he gets into the main event. So there's your spoiler. Triple R's in the main event. You knew that was going to be the case. But he had to referee this match beforehand. So once again, the inspirational speech is doing wonders for our roster right now. We did do storytelling as the note here. We had to have that because it's part of the sports entertainment thing. And so that knocked the rating as well. We could have had this up a little bit, but I don't care. I mean, it's fine. Like I said, we're going to gain popularity no matter what. This first show doesn't matter. Excessive use of special guest referees, go figure. But that's fine. We'll take that penalty a little bit for this show. So, all right, Juggernaut gets the win. He stared down American Flash so far. He beat Mr. Patriot. I mean, he just took it to the guy. And now he's beaten Too Hot. So, Juggernaut has started off quite a run here so far in RMW. All right, speaking of runs, look at this. We're getting into the greens here. You kidding me? We are already getting a green-rated segment. 40 for this one. That's like basically 100 in my opinion. Triple R is coming down ringside, and this man talks about how Rocky Mountain Wrestling is his life. This was his dream, to create Rocky Mountain Wrestling for all 66 of those fans out there in the state of Wyoming that came in here for free, basically forced to watch this show. And Triple R is saying that he didn't create this just to come in and stand back and watch. He came here to be the first ever Rocky Mountain Wrestling World Champion. And so this man has declared his intentions. The Silencer is out there in the ring, ready for this main event. Triple R versus the Silencer for the RMW World Championship. The Silencer gets a great rating here for the Rogue Special Forces gimmick. Little Triple R, good improvising on this. We started the storyline of the champion. The gimmick changes. Oh, yeah. Marketable gimmick. He's going to sell more merch. You better believe the Silencer is going to sell some merch. We're going to have all kinds of action figures of this guy running around the state of Wyoming. And so, going to be a lot of people in the next 9 months named Silencer. I'll tell you that after this match. So, Too Hot was the road agent again for this one. And again, we just get a lot of good stuff here on this. So, all right, are you ready for it? Our first ever main event. Our first ever main event of Wrestle Bowl. And it's going to be Rowdy Ryan Robertson versus the Silencer, who will be crowned the first champion in RMW. And, oh, look at that. We'll take that. A 44 for this Rowdy main event, as it is the Silencer defeating Rowdy Ryan Robertson in 15-16 with the drop zone. What a finisher that is. And the Silencer has become the first ever champion. You guys should have known. There was only one person who was ever going to be crowned the first champion of this promotion. It wasn't going to be the guy that created it. It was going to be the Silencer. And so we get a 53 for the Silencer on the in-ring performance. Can you tell I'm having fun with this? This is way more exciting than I honestly thought it would be when I first considered this. And I'm just having so much fun with it. By the way, this show is so much shorter, too, than all the other shows I booked. That helps. And we're not like, this wouldn't even be halfway in most of my other series. We'd have 15 more segments to go. But Rowdy Ryan gets a 35 on the in-ring performance. Silencer 53, as we said. We gained heat on the storyline. Crowd got hotter. I know they were bored with the other special guest referee, but we got out of this pretty well, I think, with not having a referee. Nothing really of note here. Flying Patriot was the referee for this one, by the way. So give Flying Patriot a little bit of a bump here. But yeah, so the referee stuff, all that. Too Hot still giving us some bonuses for the road agent work, and the inspirational speeches continues to do great things. So there you have it. It's the Silencer beating Triple R, and the dastardly heel has become the champion on night one of our promotion. A 41 to start this thing out. I am thrilled with that. I'm not going to lie to you. Remember, we did change our product a little bit. We went to the sports entertainment. We made those main event focused sort of, ratings to help things out. But you know what? I'm okay with this kind of flow here. Start off like in a solid point. We get to sort of your squash match before the main events where Juggernaut takes out Too Hot. And then we close it out with a big bang here with the Silencer. And so 41, we increased our popularity in one region. That should be no surprise. We knew we were going to increase our popularity because, well, we were at 0. But I'm thrilled with the first show. I hope these 66 people come back. But there you have it. A big show. Juggernaut, one of the stars. The Silencer's the champion. Prime Time Jack is here. We're protecting the Hangman. Flash. What's going to happen? We'll find out. All right, now let's get to the good stuff. So we've done this, and I think we should give a speech here. I think we should absolutely give a speech to some people. Let's see. We've got to give our man, the Silencer, some praise. A great performance, I thought, from him, the best wrestler on the show. And then I think we certainly need to give some thoughts to our friend Juggernaut. I mean, he is just kind of, maybe we should tell him that he's awesome. Maybe give him a hug. I don't know. So we're going to make some speeches to these guys. The Silencers, please. Juggernauts, please. That's all we really care about. Financial report. This is it right here. Well, we didn't make any money. So we knew this was going to be the case, right? We didn't charge anything for tickets. So all these people came in and basically gave us nothing. So our worker costs, our show costs, our marketing, overall loss, we're only down $800. I consider that a success so far, to be honest with you, all things considered. And I know I said I wasn't going to use everyone on the first show, but I'll be honest with you guys. I just wanted to kind of have some fun with the first show. And so we're not going to probably use all these guys on the show next time. So I'm okay with using this up front. And I mean, if you really think about it, we only use 9, 10 guys. So we will probably take that number back a little bit for the next show. Probably, maybe drop 1 or 2 of those guys, make some of the others a little bit more of a more frequent focus, where you can have the Silencer in a couple different segments. You can have, other guys in a couple different segments, and then basically you're focused around 3 matches, whereas we did 4 on this show. That's kind of my thinking for all the shows moving forward, but come on, I wanted to have some fun with the first show. So don't knock me for losing probably more money than I needed to lose on the first one, but we'll be okay. We got time to make up for it, even though we know we're never going to have actual money for at least another year or 2 probably. Okay, so as we said, our popularity is going up. We haven't gotten there yet, but we know that we have, like it says here, not all the gains and losses are shown. So we don't even want to worry about this. So, all right, let's see when we get to before we wrap up. All right, so Wrestle Bowl 1, extremely positive, a great show. And like we said, really the only thing that matters now is our finance. We're down $820 so far. We probably spent a little too much on the workers. We probably could have had that number, as I said, down to probably, $250, something like that. So, I mean, it is what it is, right? Like I mentioned, I'm not that concerned about it. So we'll make up for that in terms of knowing what it's going to look like moving forward. Again, I did want to show you the contracts too. I told you we had not hired anyone over $30 except for American Flash. So I have an idea for Flash, and I think you can probably see it in that first show. There is an idea that I have to work with him, and we will not be paying him on every show, and we will not have him on every show. But I'm setting up something that I think will be worth what we're doing for it. So that's kind of your financial situation right now, and you can kind of see everything else that's sort of set up there in terms of our major stars, our stars, and just how the roster blends into it. So, all right, and we can go a little bit deeper into these in terms of these numbers. Obviously, the basic pay for the workers, the show costs, the venue's $200, miscellaneous $47, overall $100. That gets us to that number. The marketing, per show $75, production $150. I got the per show cost plus the running, merchandise, a live event, $61 coming out of that. Sell $61 worth of merch, so we're getting somewhere. We got a sponsor there. and all that. So again, this will mean a lot more as we move forward in terms of our numbers and everything. So look, I mean, we kind of know where we are. It's just, this is, again, kind of the fun start to it. You could tell I had a lot of fun with that show, but it was kind of just our first big entry into the Rocky Mountain Wrestling world. Whereas I think you'll see we're going to, at least the way I have it now, we're going to kind of structure things a little bit different in terms of the shows and everything. But yeah, so I mean, we have the two storylines. We knew that. So we got a 30 for the Juggernaut. We got a 44 for the champion. So we are meeting that number. So we that's a positive coming out of it. I don't think there's anything else. We can look at our creative now. The Mobstar at the top of our creative here in terms of our franchise players. So that's worth noting on that. Next big things: hot prospects, talk the talk, Prime Time Jack, of course, too hot. Our showstoppers. You can see our best workers and stuff there. Mobstar. Maybe I'm undervalued the Mobstar here because this guy's everywhere. So that's kind of where it's at on that. So Triple R has lost some momentum, as we can tell. So has the Patriot. There's a big surprise. But, all right, there you go, guys. That was, again, Wrestle Bowl number 1. We're $820 in debt. That number may be a little too high for some people, but don't worry. We're going to turn this thing around. One other question I do have for you guys. So we had talked about the merch. Right now, having a 3 out of 10. Starting this upgrade, like what does that do for us financially? I know it says upgrading in the normal manner, $100 per week to give you 5% of the progress. Next level, you're getting about $2.50 per fan at the live shows, $5 per the popularity point for region from the mail order merchandise stuff. Running costs will be $750 a month. That sounds like a lot of money to me, but you guys can let me know if you think if I need to be upping that from 3 to something else. I know everyone has said, like, hey, up your merch as fast as you can, but financially, I don't know what that means if we're $820 down after the first show. So I'm used to operating with millions upon millions of dollars, as you know, for all my other saves. So, all right. So that's where we're at on that. As I said, I'm looking at anything else we need to kind of go into after this first one. Our schedule next coming up, we've got, I think I have Revolution is the name of it, coming up in February. So that'll be our next show. So we will kind of have some fun, do a bit of a longer look next time. And like I said, we'll kind of maybe go through this a little bit quicker. But I wanted to give you this first show because I think it's kind of a nice starting point to sort of, make the decisions on where we need to put people and all that kind of stuff. And then there's some other stuff we'll look at on the next episode too about kind of the inner circle, all that kind of stuff, maybe where guys are slotted and all that. So there you go, guys. The first show in the books, Wrestle Bowl number 1. Will we get to Wrestle Bowl 50? I'm not sure. But for now, Wrestle Bowl number 1 in the books. The Silencer's the new champion. Oh, speaking of champions, there's our World Championship belt here that the Silencer will be wearing. And so he is the new champion here of RMW. All right, guys. I appreciate you. Give me your thoughts, your tips, your feedback. What you're most excited about with these storylines, since I set up so many in the first show and all that fun stuff. Appreciate you as always. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. And by the way, next episode coming in the next couple days for the WWF Invasion 2001 save. Almost kind of finishing up booking that one, which again will be headlined by a very big match. Booker T and DDP against The Undertaker and Kane. Big match coming up in that one. So check that out on the channel if you haven't already. You can watch some of the older stuff too. Don't forget about that. Like the WWE 2021 save, I would argue. Obviously, I think our best save we've ever done on the channel. It's 100+ episodes, but I think it's still, you can go back and watch it, like it doesn't feel old. I think there's just so many kind of fun elements in that. A lot of great things I thought along the way with that one. But you can also watch C-Verse, TCW 2020, almost 40 episodes in that series you can watch as well. So, all right, I appreciate you guys. Looking forward to the comments. They should be fun after this one. We're $820 down. Are we going to make it as a company? You guys let me know. On the next episode of our RMW Local to Global Save, it will be the next couple shows, and again, we'll look at some of the other stuff in terms of our business.